Hello students, how are you all? We all are meeting after a very long break, right? Myself Jyoti Saita student, I am going to teach you social science. So we shall begin with our first chapter, Arrivals of European in India. Students, previously India was a very rich and wealthy country. Many countries from foreign, they were eager to trade in India to earn a lot of wealth, money. Previously, Arabs undertook the trade in India through the land route, but due to certain circumstances, the land route was completely stopped. So, because of this, many European countries, to take the advantage of this scenario, they decided to search a new sea route to India, because the demand of Indian commodities, that is the clothes, spices, they were in great demand in foreign markets. Many adventurous sailors, they tried to find a sea route to India, but the one capable and explorer, Columbus Christopher, find a new sea route to India. He reached to the India. He believed that it is India, but coincidentally, it was not in India, student. It was in America. So this misconception was in his mind till the time he was alive. So the natives of America, they are known as Red Indians, and the island group in Caribbean is known as West Indies. You know, student, who was the first person to reach to India? Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese, reached to the India, and he reached at the port of Calicut on 22nd May 1498. At that time, King Zamorian was ruling in India. For trading in India, Portuguese has to take a permission from King Zamorian, and at that time they were trading in Bengal. At the time, Emperor Shah Jahan was ruling in India at Delhi. The Subedar of Bengal complained regarding the misbehavior of the Portuguese in India. Now the student, the question must be in your mind, what kind of misbehavior was done by them? They forced the Indian people to convert their religion, the devastation of the Hindu temples, right? And they forced mixed marriages of Portuguese with local people. Thus, the fort of Hooghly was demolished and the ships were burnt as per the order of the Emperor Shah Jahan. In this way, the Portuguese rule came to an end in India. After Portuguese, the people from Dutch, they also came into India for trading. They arrived at the port of Calicut and Madras. They established their factories at Cochin, that is today's current Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. But in comparison of Britishers, they were not so powerful. So they were not able to compete with them, and they have to withdraw their powers. When the Britishers arrived in India, at that time Queen Elizabeth was ruling in England. Do you know, student, or you must be eager to know that where did the Britishers landed first? At which port? They landed at Surat in the year 1608 common. For trading in India, Captain William Hawkins met the Emperor Jahangir, but he did not give the permission, and when the powers went into the hands of Shah Jahan, he gave the permission to the Britishers to carry out the trade in the Bengal. The French people also thought to establish a French East India Company in the year 1664 Common Era. The head of the French company, Joseph Dupleix, has an ambition to expand the French company in India. So they established their factories at Surat, Machilapatnam and Pondicherry. Now there was a tough competition between the Britishers and the French companies. But the French people, they were not strong enough in comparison of the Britishers. So there were innumerable conflicts and battles between them. And finally, the Britishers were the winners. So the French people have to retain their control from the trading centers of Pondicherry, Mahe and Chandranagar. Started their trade on the bank of the river Hooghly in Bengal in 1651 Common Era. Now there was a deal between Aurangzeb and the Britishers. They got the permission to trade in India without paying taxes against the annual pay. So only the East India Company can get the benefit of the tax-free trade as per the deal done by the king and the Britishers. But the company, those who were not engaged in the personal trade, did not pay the taxes. As a result, the income generated from the tax in Bengal reduced. Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan, opposed this, and there was a dispute which kept on recurring during this time. After King Ali Vardi Khan, his son Siraj ud Dawla take the charge, and he involved into a major battle, the Battle of Plassey. Siraj ud Dawla became a Nawab of Bengal in the year 1756 Common. Now Britishers win the confidence of competitors of Siraj ud Dawla by saying that he would not remain on the throne of Bengal, and still there were severe conflicts between the British merchants for not paying the tax. Siraj ud Dawla declared that both the merchants, Indian as well as foreign merchants, have to pay the taxes. But when the foreign merchants they failed to pay the taxes, the situation came to a boiling point. Siraj ud Dawla said that Britishers have to pay the taxes as per the terms and conditions. Robert Clive bribed Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj ud Dawla, with a promise that he would give the throne of Bengal to Mir Jafar, and he joined the hands with the Britishers. With the help of Mir Jafar, Robert Clive not only defeated but he also murdered the Siraj ud Dawla, a very remarkable beginning of British rule in India, and a very and famous battle was fought in India, a battle of Plassey. One amazing thing about this battle, the name of the battle, Palashi, was derived from the name of the trees, Palash. And this flowers of this tree, saffron colors flowers, were used for making colors of Holi. Mir Jafar was appointed as a Nawab of Bengal, but he was just a puppet ruler. He has no powers in his hand. All the powers rest in the hands of the English people. So the East India Company decided to replace him with his son-in-law Mir Qasim. He was very efficient, disciplined and a clever ruler. But the problem arose between the Mir Qasim and company regarding the non-payment of the taxes. Finally, Mir Qasim was defeated by company, and so he escaped away. He formed good relations with Shuja ud Dawla, the Nawab of Awadh. They both were further supported by Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. So now these three rulers and the combined forces, they fought with the English forces the Battle of Buxar on 22nd October 1764. This was called Battle of Buxar, which resulted in the defeat of the combined forces. Mir Qasim lost, so he was deposed from the Bengal throne, and Mir Jafar was given the throne of Bengal once again. Under such situations, the Robert Clive was being asked to return to India and control the situation. It was the end of our lesson number 1, student. Have you understood it? And if you have any query, please send it on our school app. Thank you so much, students. Meet you in the next session soon. Till then, bye bye. Take care.